Good evening, race fans, and welcome back here to the CIL, the Collegiate iRacing League, for tonight's race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 2.5-mile rectangle-shaped track, and we've got a good one on tap for you here tonight. Joining me up in the booth is actually a different voice here tonight, Michael Koholich joining me up in the booth. And Michael, great to have you on board tonight.
Hey, Jared, thanks for having me. I guess what you guys want to know is who the heck am I? So whenever Jarrett, John, and Josh, whenever they're talking about, race control might have to have a look at that, well, I'm that guy. And they said they needed some help tonight in the booth, and I'm here.
Yep, so Michael does what you guys don't see on screen, and every time there's an incident, he's the one investigating it. And with the new CIL penalty system, you'll see that in action here tonight. We'll probably hear from Michael about a couple of his scoring decisions over the course of the night, who is at fault for an incident and why that is. So you'll be able to see a little behind the curtain here at the CIL.
Absolutely.
So as we get set to go here, we take a look at what the drivers are facing here tonight. We mentioned 2.5 miles around this circuit. That is Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 112 degrees out on the track, so not necessarily a very hot track temp here tonight. 69 degrees out in the ambient air. That's very nice for the drivers here as we get set to rock and roll. Clear skies, and we expect some clouds to maybe roll in over the course of the night as practice wrapping on up here. And then we'll see drivers out there for qualifying. Quick reminder that the top 26 times make it directly to the feature race. So you'll see the times come across the left side of your screen here as we begin qualifying in a moment. Those top 26 drivers advance straight to the big race, and everybody left over, they head to that last chance qualifier where it's a mini race, 15 laps or 20 minutes, whichever comes first. And they're racing for 10 spots. So 36 drivers total in the feature race, 26 of those via qualifying, and 10 of those being in that last chance qualifier. And Michael, we've seen a lot of action in the last chance qualifier from up there in the race control booth. How's that been in those LCQs?
Honestly, this season the LCQs haven't been too bad with the lower number of cars. And it's a lot easier to deal with, especially maybe some drivers late in the season are racking up points. And, we got to pay attention to who's getting a more severe penalty, but it's a lot easier in the LCQ. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, perfect. Well, 2 weeks ago at Auto Club, we had a wild finish, a big wreck with about 7 laps to go. Took out a lot of the leaders, so names like Austin Farr, Jared Kaler, Santi Perez, all involved in that incident. And Ryan Fenty would go on to win that race. Good job by him. And he survived another Turn 4 incident there at the end where we saw 3 of the drivers collect that Turn 4 wall. And we might see a little more of that, not necessarily out of Turn 4, but out of Turn 1 here tonight. So pay attention to that as we get towards this LCQ of drivers, how they manipulate Turn 1. These NASCAR Cup cars are very aero dependent, so they're not very good in dirty air. What dirty air means is following a car in front of you. The car in front will upset the air, and it doesn't go clean over that car in that following position. So you'll see a lot of guys push up towards that wall coming out of Turn 1 if they're that following car. And when we get this big pack at the start of the race, start of that feature race, pay attention to that Turn 1 wall. Michael?
Yeah, Turn 1 and 3 are going to be huge, especially in a pack, and especially just guys going for, even if the field's spread out, guys going for passes. Turn 1 and 3, they're going to be coming in hot, and going side by side is really tough. This is a really flat track, and like you mentioned, that wall is always looming, and it comes up really quick. So I'm pretty positive we're going to see something happen turn 1 and 3.
So the guys who don't want to see something happen are guys up there in points. So your top 5 in points right now: Austin Farr with 155, Santi Perez 7 points back in second, but he will not be racing in these final 2 races as he gets set for the Pro Series. Henry Morse 25 points back in third, Ryan Fenty 30 points back in fourth, and the driver we're on board with right now, Jared Kaler, 32 points back. But keep in mind, that does not count for that drop week. So they have plenty of time to make up ground. So let's ride along with Jared Kaler for this lap of qualifying. He's going to go all the way out toward that outside wall. Look for that one board, turn it on in, get those left side tires all the way down to those rumble strips, all the way out to the wall in between 1 and 2 and that little short chute. And then once again, all the way back down. The car will get really tight outside of turn 2. And with this long of a backstretch, you want to get as much speed coming off that corner as you can. So pay attention, guys. Going to have to be very patient in turn 2 as those tires wear. So if we get a long green flag run, you'll see guys using a little bit more of that brake pedal in turn 2, get the car rotated a little bit and back on. You see him using the curbing in 3 and 4. 4, a good little corner. You can carry a lot of speed into 4 and off of 4, and down that front straightaway you see Kaler come off the wall a little bit, keep that arrow in shape. iRacing models that bubble against the wall, and sometimes it'll drag the car just a little bit. And with every 10th mattering here, you can see Kaler doing a great job into 4th currently in qualifying.
Wow. Yeah, Kaler is a very talented driver. We've seen that in seasons in the past. And something else to look for is, yes, that turn one, that wall on the outside is looming, but man, the good drivers, you watch Kaler, you watch Farr, you watch Morse, they're going to be getting real close to that. And so you're going to see these drivers, the good ones, are going to be they're going to be using every single inch of this track. That was impressive.
Yeah, and you said it right there, using every inch of the track, and it's tough. Sometimes you're tracking up towards that wall like you just saw, and you want to get out of the throttle. That wall's coming quickly, and if you stay in it and can sneak up toward that outside retaining wall and use all of that track, you're going to maximize your speed on corner entry, on corner exit, and have a very good night here tonight. A couple drivers on board with us here tonight. Ricky Paz has finished up his qualifying. Matthew Nordberg currently out on the track. We'll see if we can get you on board with him here in a moment. And we see the beautiful NC State machine. Matthew Nordberg, one of the drivers who races in VR. You see the headset on his face. That will track the driver's head movements. So if you want to look out that window net on your left side, you simply just turn your head to left. So really cool software that the drivers are able to use and make use of. It really pays off here in that in the oval racing, being able to see that car next to you, especially at a track like this, Michael, where it's so draft dependent and you got to know where everyone is at all times.
Yeah, knowing where someone is really important, especially in oval. It's something that I struggle with. I'm on single screens all the time, and man, oval's so tough. Even with a spotter, even with radar on the screen, having that field of view to be able to maybe take a little peek out of the corner of your eye, or maybe not even peek, but you can see it right there, and that makes a huge difference.
So another one of our onboard drivers, Ryan Fenty, on screen now. Ryan Fenty, 4th in points currently. We mentioned 30 points back, and that's not calculating that drop week. So each of those drivers' worst finishes will be dropped from their points, and it's your top 5 best finishes. So a lot could change between now and next week at Homestead, Miami, but Ryan Fenty, 30 points back, 4th in points. Student graduating in the spring of 2022. In history for secondary education, his only official win was at Pocono, and wouldn't you know it, he got a win in the CIL last week at Auto Club after surviving what was a crazy final couple laps. So you can see on Fenty's car there, little Halloween action. The drivers wanting to kind of dedicate this race to Halloween. We had the breast cancer awareness races a little bit ago, and now we've got some Halloween schemes that you'll see over the course of the night. I think my personal favorite, Michael, is in between Jared Kaler and Scott Ratliff's, both very good paint schemes. So you look really closely on the side of those cars, and you will not be disappointed. Some very talented painters here in the CIL as well.
Yeah, pre-race we were talking about paint schemes tonight, and you say you might sound like you're a little bit partial to Kaler's, but man, I was telling you that Scott Ratliff one, that's a great paint.
It is indeed. So we'll be able to see Scott. Looks like Scott in a pretty good spot, currently sitting 19th in qualifying. It looks like he's going to go straight to the feature. So good run for the Pittsburgh State team. On your screen right now is Ricky Paz. You can see him battling that wheel off of turn 2, really sawing it. And pay attention to that throughout the night. Guys talked about steering ratio, meaning how many degrees of input in your wheel goes into the actual tires on the car. So we'll see if guys continue to do that high steering ratio where you can saw the wheel and not wear off the tires as much. Or maybe guys want the feel of that car. They like sawing it and they'll use both sets of Goodyear Eagles that they get tonight. 2 sets of tires awaiting them on pit lane if they so desire, and 1 fast repair. So drivers can bring their car down pit lane, repair it to its original racing state, and be good to go for the rest of the way.
Yep. We were talking about using the whole track earlier as the number 19 car. Remind me of his name. If
That's
I don't
Ricky
see him here
Paz.
that's Ricky Paz. Ricky Paz goes into the wall. So, as we were talking about using the whole track, but also that steering ratio you're talking about, again, it's a flat track. So if you're turning too much, if you got too low of a ratio and you're turning too much, scrubbing those front tires, you're gonna lose a lot of pace. A lot of pace, way more than any other track that's more banked than this. And these are high speed turns. So those fronts are gonna get hot, they're gonna get worn, and then you're going to start going real slow backwards through the pack really quick.
Could not agree more with that. Qualifying wrapping up here. About a minute to go
And
here in
look at Sean
qualifying.
Campbell.
And
Sean
Campbell.
Campbell,
Yeah.
P2. We've seen a few. Sorry, Jared. We've seen a few appearances from him in the LCQs, and we're thinking, what the heck? Because he's our Road Series champion, and we know he can do it. And finally, Sean is pulling through in qualifying P2. That's awesome.
Yeah, we heard him talking to guys in pre-race, and he said, "How do I make this feel like an open wheeler, kind of that Indy car feel?" And he must have figured it out because he's 3/100ths off of Christian Gomez, who's up there on pole position right now. So Sean Campbell, pay attention to him throughout the race. Look at the top 5 even. We've got Ryan Lusich in 3rd, Andrew Williams 4th, Jared Kaler 5th. That's kind of surprising to me, Michael. Not a lot of the top names up there on the top spot.
No, that's huge. You got it, Austin Farr down at 13th. It's crazy. You got to be wondering what the heck is going on here. But it's great to see some new names, and we know Campbell can do this. We know Gomez can do this, and so these kind of things are these things happen. I guess in qualifying, anything could happen.
So qualifying has wrapped on up, and we head to the last chance qualifier. We have 13 drivers set to take the green flag here, and you'll see them on your screen now. So rolling off in first is going to be Jake Drew in this last chance qualifier. Hagen Johnson from Clemson University starts in second. Alexander Gagnon from Robert Morris University rolls off third in this LCQ. Fourth is going to be Jarrett Grodzicki from Kansas State University. Grodzicki has had a couple really good races, so a little surprised to see him in the LCQ tonight. But we should see the Kansas State machine advance if I had to put a bet on that. Grant Lemcool from St. Louis University back there in 5th in this LCQ. Zach Lindler from Clemson in 6th. Matthew Tucker from Jacksonville State will roll off 7th. Jeffrey Ford from Missouri in 8th. Samuel Schur, another Clemson driver, starts 9th, and Ethan Morris rounding out the top 10 in the last chance qualifier. Cody Fadenhauer and Ricky Paz will make up your final 2 qualifiers here in that last chance race. So, Michael, as we start looking at these drivers in this LCQ, who's your pick to get the win? And I'm also going to ask you your pick to get that final transfer spot, that 10th spot where 3 drivers get eliminated. Who's that driver that just sneaks in for you?
Well, I was actually hoping you would ask me this question. One of our drivers who he joined really late in the season. I think it was the last race for the finale of Oval. Grant Lemcool. I think he's made such huge improvements over since the end of last season that he's my pick. He's my pick to pull this one out. And as far as that top 10 spot, man, it could honestly, I can't pick anyone. It's going to be close.
It is. Could not agree more. And Grant Lemke, very good pick. His brother Carl, you'll see him in the feature race as well. So maybe picking up a few tips from Carl as we get set to go here. But I think we've talked about the Clemson guys having a lot of Clemson guys and a lot of teamwork. And right here, you can see two of them on your screen, Hagen Johnson and Zach Lindler. And I think they're going to work together. So I think watch out for the Clemson driver up there on the top side. But Jared Grodzicki, I think I'm going with the Kansas State driver to pull this out here in the LCQ. I talked about him a little bit, kind of showing his stuff the past couple weeks. Grodzicki, a little later join here in Season 3, so he hasn't run the full schedule, but he's made some headway here, and sharing a name likeness with him must be encouraging me to go for the Kansas State machine as well a little bit, but we're going to watch him throughout this race. And as for my pick for 10th, I think Cody Fadenhauer. We've seen Fadenhauer maybe avoid the incidents that happen, and in that no nut November for the peanut allergies of us and in the world, I think he's going to represent that car well here tonight.
I can't believe you said that.
So Jake Drew going to lead us to the green flag here for the LCQ. The pace car will pull off of turn 4, and a lot of room to maneuver here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A lot of draft on those front two, on that front straightaway and back straightaway. So we'll see how this one plays out. Started with the green flag in the air, ready to rock and roll when they hit that Geico restart zone. Pace car pulls off on a pit lane, and we are green for the last chance qualifier here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Little tire spin from the outside car of Hagen Johnson, but he's going to slide on in, and the top two will be single file as they dip to the top side.
Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more fireworks there at the start. I was hoping maybe someone would go wide as Jake Drew gets really close to the outside wall there. We were talking about that earlier. And it looks like they're just all going single file. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of gentleman's agreement on maybe not going 3 wide first lap like we might have seen in the past.
Yeah, the LCQs, you've mentioned it. There have been fireworks. Guys know that they need this race to get into the feature, and it's a quick race. It's 15 laps or 20 minutes, whichever hits first. And I tell you what, you said single file, and now the front 4 mixing up a little bit. Jake Drew back to the inside. He's going to take the lead back from Hagen Johnson. Grodzicki hanging out in third, but right behind him, here comes Grant Lemke.
There we go, my pick. Go, Grant. Go, go, go.
Grant on the inside. Oh, trouble at the front. We'll see if he can hang on to it. Jake Drew up towards that outside retaining wall. It looks like Alexander Gagnon as well. It looks like we're going to stay green for the time being.
Staying green, got a little bit of a quarter panel bump. Oh, no, we're not.
Caution going to be out. Matthew Tucker getting turned into that outside retaining wall. And that's going to be our first caution of the last chance qualifier. Let's take another look at what just happened on your screen. So you're looking at Matthew Tucker. We saw the car slow on the outside after getting up into the wall. And down comes that Robert Morris University driver of Gagnon. And I think that might be his at fault there. We'll take one more look at it here from low on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway circuit, and you can see, yeah, just really tough right there. Two cars of very different speeds, and that's what happens right there. You got to be aware of your surroundings there, and I think we're gonna hear from Michael about that. And in the LCQ, everything is washed away once you get to the feature, so we keep talking about these penalty points. Those will be washed away once you get to the feature race, and that's where it counts, as the field gets lined back up behind this pace car. And we'll take a look on the left side of your screen how these guys are running. So Hagen Johnson up in first, Jared Grodzicki second, Zach Lindler holding on to third, Grant Lemke all the way up to fourth. He's gained a spot since the start. Jake Drew has dropped from first all the way back to fifth. Ethan Miles Morris in sixth. Ricky Paz in seventh. Alexander Gagnon eighth. Cody Fadenhauer ninth. And currently in that final transfer spot is Jeffrey Ford back there in 10th position. So 13 laps to go, 12 to go when we hit the line, and we will presumably receive the 1 to go signal. A little bit of damage on the front end of Hagen Johnson's car, actually. And Michael, we got through 2 laps, and you mentioned that kind of gentleman's agreement went out the window on that second lap there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there just wasn't. Maybe they, I don't know, decided individually to go one by one and then get a feel for it, and then now they're going for it. Get kind of decide what they want to do, get their breath catched. We got it through lap 1 clean. All right, now let's go. It's go time.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be interested to see on this restart as well. But drivers on pit lane, it's going to be Jake Drew, Alexander Gagnon, Jeffrey Ford, Cody Fadenhauer, and Matthew Tucker, all receiving service to their NASCAR Cup car vehicles. So interesting play here, guys. These drivers getting that extra set of tires. The guys involved in the incidents obviously needing that fast repair. But other guys, Cody Fadenhauer, Jake Drew, Jeffrey Ford, all coming down for presumably just tires. I think that's an interesting call right there, Michael. Try and get different tires. Only 2 laps on those tires. So not quite sure how that difference is going to be, but it could pay off. It could end up being a very smart move for those guys.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much of a difference even 2 race laps makes on these tires. So going for maybe just outsides or just all 4, if everyone else is doing it, you might as well, because maybe in the closing laps you're going to be at a disadvantage with slightly more worn tires. Yeah.
Yeah, you did mention the flat surface here on the track, and that will be a tough one to negotiate. But we'll see. Lights off on the pace car here. And we'll get ready to rock and roll once again. Rack them and stack them. On the outside, Jared Grodzicki, and on the inside, the 2 Clemson cars back to back. Green flag set to roll here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and you'll see these guys get a good jump off Grodzicki all the way down to the bottom. Looks like we are green as they hit that Geico restart zone. The Clemson cars maybe not working together all that well as they leave a space in there for the Kansas State car. But there's your 3 wide back there. It settles on out, but it was Grant Lemkuhl, Ethan Miles Morris, and Stanwell Sure mixing it up. And here comes Jake Drew.
It's so good to see Grant pushing it 3 wide. Come so far since he started. Now he's making moves out here, And I don't know, what is he, top 5 now? And he's putting a little bit of a gap on the guys behind, and looking good.
Yeah, Grant Lemkuhl having a good race, and strategy is going to play a part here. You're in that top 5. You know you're advancing. You want to race these guys in front, but look at this gap they've created. Just pull away. Just run your race. Just try and get to that finish. But here comes Ricky Paz diving all the way to the inside. He wants absolutely none of that. He wants to win the LCQ for that Valpo esports team.
Yeah, you got to be thinking, a little bit of strategy here. Hey, guys, we're way inside the top 10. Why risk it? Why risk putting it in the wall? Why risk putting multiple cars in the wall when we could just ride it out? But no, these guys are competitors. They're gonna go for it anyway. Like, screw that. I want the win.
There they go. You can see the difference in lines in turns 3 and 4. A little high line for Grant Lemkuhl, maybe sacrificing a little speed. Jake Drew down to the inside now. He's going to get the quarter panel underneath of Grant. Slide up the track, and they'll be side by side. Going with him, it looks like Ricky Paz going to slide in the toe of Jake Drew, and now goes back to the top side. He's got help from Ethan Miles Morris right behind, rocking that University of Tennessee, wearing the University of Kentucky machine.
Yeah, I think we were questioning it earlier of why they were doing this. Why are they Kentucky but wearing Tennessee? And it's just they like to act like they're Tennessee.
Down the back straightaway, you can see how powerful the draft is, and that's going to keep everyone all mixed up. Great move from Jake Drew there to go outside in on Hagen Johnson. And Jake Drew looks like he wants this win in the LCQ. He's just going to keep on moving forward further back. Grant Lemcool going to go door to door with Ricky Paz here. That's a battle for 5th spot right there.
And you're talking about strategy. Again, look how much time they're losing battling like this. It's going to back them up to the guys that are back in 10th. So you got to be thinking, maybe it's not just preservation of the car, it's preservation of the top 10. And there goes Grant sliding around a little bit, but he's got it collected. He's back on the racing line, and he's going to be all right.
So Grant looks like he received damage to the right side of that machine, maybe slapped the wall there outside of turn 1. We mentioned it, turn 1, a dangerous area up in front of him. Jeffrey Ford now in that 9th position. Samuel Schur in that 10th spot. He's mixing it on up here.
Mixing a Dyson. I was talking about Grant. He's my pick. Now he's P10 after that. I don't know if it was a mistake, maybe contact, but now he's in 11th. Now he's my pick for P10. He's going to get that 10th position. I'm pulling for him.
Matthew Tucker trying to battle back in that Jacksonville State machine. He's going to go side by side with Grant Lemcool. Yellow flag is out. And I think that's at the front of the pack. It is. That's number 7 of Hagen Johnson. You see Jarrett Grodzicki as well. All the leaders. There's a bunch of Clemson cars involved. And let's see how this one transpired. Taking a peek at Ricky Paz. It looks like just in front of him, actually, this occurred. So we'll have to get you another vantage point of this. But there goes the 37 and the 3 around, and then just keeps on collecting right there. And that's tough to get out of the way. You mentioned the flat track. Cars are able to just kind of stay where they wreck. And I think you gotta know that in this situation.
Yeah, that's tough. That's something that you got to be always looking out for on this track. Cars spinning, you got to slow down. I'm sure a lot of viewers and a lot of us have seen Arca Break Weekly, and that kind of, not slowing down for something like this is, I don't know.
That's a tough spot for a lot of these guys, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot on pit lane. And you can see the Jarek Grodzicki car kind of crab walking down pit lane to get down there and get that fast repaired. Lindler and Schurer right behind as well. If you don't see your favorite...
About...
Go ahead, Michael.
Sorry, we got to think about the cars that already took their fast repair too. I don't know if they might have been caught up in that as well, but that earlier incident, maybe some of them don't have a fast repair right now.
Yeah, and one of them right now, Jake Drew up there, he's in the lead, but you can see the front of that Lucas Oil machine not looking too strong, as we'll get a good look at it as we come around turn 4 here. Yeah, a little bent out of shape, and that's tough on a track like this that is such aero dependent. That's going to hurt the car quite a bit, but wouldn't be surprised if we see Jake Drew sneak his way back up before this one's said and done. We should see the lights out on the pace car here momentarily. Looks like Jake Drew going to head down pit lane. He's going to lead a whole gaggle of cars on the pit road.
Oh, and we got a fake going on. Who was that? The 804 car, Cody Fadenhauer, doing a little fake, trying to catch some people out, but I don't know if he really did catch anyone out. I think the people behind him were already decided on pit road. So, but hey, we can all have fun, huh?
Indeed, and I think we're seeing something interesting, and keep in mind all the drivers that you'll see in the feature race later are watching this race right now, and they're seeing how these tires are benefiting. And you can see guys coming with 5 to go. They're coming to get tires. A little surprising, but with this many people following you on the pit lane, Jake Drew might be in a good spot. Ricky Paz might be in a good spot as well. I think Drew's going to fix up some of the damage as he sits on pit lane. Yeah, already used his fast repair. Looks like he's going to fix it on up a little bit.
Yeah, you can see some of the dents being pulled out of that car right now. And yeah, I guess like we were mentioning earlier, you'd be surprised how much of an advantage the new tires make, and especially later. Now we're another 8 laps later. We can see some of these guys that didn't stop for tires. We might see them moving back really fast.
Yeah, so guys like Cody Fadenhauer, Alexander Gagnon, Matthew Tucker. Pay attention to those three, especially. They came on lap 3, so it's going to be about a 7-lap difference between those guys at the front and everyone behind him. And great data for the guys in the feature race. Cody Fadenhauer down to the access road here, playing a little games. Lights still on the pace car, so we'll have at least one more pace lap here before we get back to green. And I think that's going to play into the hands of those top 3, Fadenhauer, Gagnon, Tucker, as it looks like Cody's going to go for one more fake before we go back green. But those limited laps left, those new tires still do need to heat up. So we'll see how quickly they can make use of them as you see everyone cleaning off those Goodyear Eagles getting set to go. Pace lights out. So next lap we'll be back to green, finishing this one on up.
Yeah, and we know from history, 2005 U.S. Grand Prix, this track is very abrasive. I don't know if anyone knows, but it's diamond ground, so there's these little grooves in the track, and I don't know how well iRacing models that and how abrasive the track is, but I think these new tires are going to warm up real quick, and they're just going to be flying.
Yeah, we saw it a little bit earlier, so we're definitely going to see it again. I mean, the 3-lap difference and the guys at the front, and now a 7-lap difference, almost double the laps on tires that we'll see. And that feature race coming up, 40 laps. So this will be a very good reference point for the drivers in the feature, seeing, hey, what do 7-lap old tires do? And then planning out your pit strategy from there. Because you get those 2 additional sets of tires. So when to pit, when to take those tires. All the guys in the feature race definitely trying to calculate that in their heads as we go here. But it's all going to be dependent on when the yellow flag rolls. We've seen 2 here in the LCQ. And we'll see how many we get in the feature race. Wouldn't be surprised if we get a long green flag run there in that one.
Yeah, drivers, it's the end of the race. Drivers might get a little bit desperate here, might make some sketchy moves. I mean, they were going for it from lap 2, but it might get more desperate here. But not for Grant Lemcool. My man is back inside the top 10, so as long as he can stay there, I think he'll be all right.
I think so too. Pace car pulling off. Cody Fadenhauer going to back up the field a little bit, and he gets on the gas. You can see the guys a little back and forth a little bit on that start. Fadenhauer jumps up to the top side to block it on off, but here comes Ricky Paz in third for Valpo, and he's going to take that spot easily.
Wow, he just moved over. Maybe that's some self-preservation there, Why fight for P2? Why move ourselves back by battling right now? Let's just go.
Yeah, and even for Alexander Gagnon, maybe he sees him dive to the inside and says, you know what, have that position. I'm still advancing. It's fine. Single file back there, but Hagen Johnson thinking about sending it too wide. And here comes Ricky Pass to the inside of Fadenhauer in turn 3. Fadenhauer going to try and chop it off, but Pass goes door to door as they head toward turn 4.
Wow, that was close on Cody's quarter panel there as we have a driver touch the inside curb and Grant touching someone. They're all spreading out trying to avoid this incident, and they do. Oh my goodness, this is heating up.
2 laps to go here in the last chance qualifier, and racing is heating up. Ricky Paz starting to run away with it. Cody Fadenhauer going to try and chase him down. Alexander Gagnon looking at a battle right behind him. It's Hagen Johnson, Jeffrey Ford, and Jake Drew all mixing it up.
Yeah, this 4-car pack back here, they're all inside the top 10. So hopefully, maybe they get back in line. They don't battle so hard for this spot here. But as I say that, we got my man Grant Lemcool taking a peek. It doesn't exactly work out for him, but at least he's going for it, as these 3 cars behind him actually catch up due to all this.
Yeah, and you can see right there, if you go for a move and don't complete it, how much speed it can cost you. Grant losing time in between turns 3 and 4, losing time off of 4. Ethan Miles Morris going to try and sneak by on the low side, and he's going to put Grant in kind of a compromised position here in turn 1.
Very close quarters racing here. This is the battle to watch right here. This is for the top 10. As they were going across the line, I believe it was the last car, the top 10 car, is Jarek Grudzicki and he's right there. And so they really don't want to accidentally get bumped back, make a mistake, and end up in that 11th position.
Yeah, a lot still could change, but Ricky Paz is checked out. He's almost in a different zip code now. Cody Fadenhauer holding on to that second spot, but Hagen Johnson wants to sneak up into that second spot, and there's an advantage to that as we come toward the checkered flag here in the LCQ. That will determine your starting spot in the feature. So Ricky Paz going to come away with the LCQ victory. Cody Fadenhauer second, Hagen Johnson third, Alexander Gagnon fourth, Jeffrey Ford fifth. And as soon as we say that, here we go to the feature race.
It's feature race time, and oh no, my man Grant. It looks like he got that 12th position in the LCQ, didn't he? How did this happen? Are my scoring sheets a little bit off here?
Nope, we are getting word that 42 drivers will make the feature race. So throw everything out that we've just told you. 42 drivers will be in the feature race instead of the originally scheduled 36. So we are currently working through that, but you're going to see all the drivers that we just saw in that last chance qualifier now in the feature race. So a little surprise for all of us here, including us up here in the booth.
Alrighty then. Then everybody makes it. Great, cool. That was fun. They got their warm up. They know how it is when they're in the draft, whenever they're trying to make moves. Maybe that's an advantage for some of these guys. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think you mentioned it very good. It's very good for those drivers to learn how all the other guys are racing around them. So we'll see how they mix it on up. It should be a very interesting time. Now we're gonna see those top guys, those Jared Kahlers, those Austin Farrs, take to the track. And we mentioned Austin Farr actually, that Halloween paint scheme. You guys are normally used to that Tennessee orange. You see that black Tennessee machine tonight, that midnight black for the University of Tennessee. A couple different Tennessee paint schemes for that Halloween weekend here, and you'll see some more Halloween paint schemes as well. So we mentioned Scott Ratliff's a little earlier. Let's get that to you on screen. You get a good look at the Pittsburgh State machine right here.
Man, look at that car. That looks so good. Oh yeah. Great paint scheme there.
So the drivers did want to do a little Halloween special, and always fun on the oval side to see how they change their paint schemes from week to week. A lot of guys with painters, a lot of guys do it themselves. So here in the CIL, we originally came in offering paints to each of these drivers, and now we've got, for example, Panther Esports that does all their own gig. They even moved the numbers back a little bit. You saw that at Bristol in NASCAR in real life, and they're doing it here out on the CIL.
I've given my hand. I've taken a shot at making some paints, and making a good one. I can tell when something looks bad, and you can tell when something looks good, and it's really hard to make a paint that actually looks good. Because you can make one and you're like, man, this is awful. This looks terrible. I don't know what to do to fix it. I don't have the skill to do it. So making these paint jobs actually look good on a car, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort.
It does indeed. So it's hats off to these guys who make these insane paints week in and week out. So Christian Gomez going to be on pole here tonight, and he's getting out there warming up quickly. He's currently sitting fastest in this little warm-up session as well. So Christian Gomez looking to have a good run for the Panther Esports team in that 65 machine, and we'll get a good look at his on board representing Dale Earnhardt here tonight. You can see the Intimidator on your screen right there, and I think Christian Gomez maybe channeling a little bit of Dale Sr., and he's going to have a good race here tonight, Michael.
Yeah, he will have a good race. He's consistently been in the top 5-10 cars every race, every week. He's coming out here, and he's after his race. What happened to him at Watkins Glen last week? He's no holds barred for Christian Gomez tonight. He's going for it.
So another driver, Matthew Nordberg. I think we might see Nordberg make his way up towards the front as well. We saw his onboard a little bit ago. So don't be surprised if NC State jumps in the top. Nordberg's kind of had a run of bad luck here in the CIL, but outside of that, he's run some pretty good laps. As we wrap on up this little warm-up session here in about 10 seconds, Michael.
Yeah, and I think a good driver to look for. He's kind of silently been putting in some work. He's not too far off Austin Farr and Jared Kaler as they trade their wins. But man, Henry Morse, I think he's got a shot to do really well tonight because he I don't know if he just doesn't get the recognition, or I haven't been watching the broadcast enough, but he's silently doing his thing.
He is, and Henry Morse, you mentioned it. I'm glad you brought him up, actually. He's only 25 points back of the points lead, so we constantly talk about Jared Kaler, we talk about Austin Farr, but Henry Morse can challenge in the points as well, especially with that drop week. So he's currently sitting third in points. He's actually above Jared Kaler, who we consider to be like one of the top 3 racers here in CIL.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think Henry Morse can. I think he can do some damage in the points. The points division, the points area here tonight. As you can go through the starting grid.
So on pole tonight, Christian Gomez for FIU, Sean Campbell from Randolph Community College, your road champion, starts outside row number 1. Ryan Lusich from North Texas will roll off third here tonight. Andrew Williams from Clemson in 4th. Jared Kaler from UNC Charlotte starts the night in 5th, and Henry Morse, we just mentioned him, rolls off on the outside in 6th. Carl Lemkruel from St. Louis University in 7th. Edwin Onefre from North Texas in 8th. Derek Jennings from Grand Canyon will roll off 9th, and Jeremy Milnerin from Purdue in 10th.
And then in 11th place, Thomas Toomey from Virginia, and Esteban Munoz from FIU in that 12th position. Austin Farr coming in at 13th from Tennessee. Again, really surprising to see him down here. Colin Kulpa from Indiana. Ryan Fenty in 15th position from St. Joseph's. Logan Slavosky. Am I saying that right?
Slavosky
from Queens University of Charlotte. 17th, Jeremy Rogers from Texas A&M, and Nicholas Stockner from Clemson University. Austin DeLong, Penn College of Technology, and Scott Ratliff, Pittsburgh State, in that 20th position.
Rolling through the rest of your field, Ryan Whitlock 21st, Joshua Tiggs 22nd, Ethan Head 23rd, Dan Banner 24th, Matthew Nordberg 25th, Bradley Daniels 26th, Austin Trainer 27th, Tristan Yoder 28th, Andrew McCall, and Nick Loesch make up your qualifying drivers. The rest of your starting field, you just saw them in the LCQ as we get set to go here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Feels good to have Grant Lemkul on that starting grid, huh?
Yeah, he might be your pick to win here as well, huh? So, pace car. a lot of ground to cover for Grant if it were. So pace car going to take that hard left-hand turn onto pit road, and we will go green here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A big field going to be led to the green flag by Christian Gomez and the Panther Esports team. Green flag in the air, and we are racing here at IMS Field. Going to mix it up down this front straightaway. Guys jockeying for position, and here they go. Diving to the inside is Nordberg back there. He might go 3 wide.
Oh, yeah, here we go. The gentleman's agreement is not on here. Look at the back of the pack, absolutely spreading out. I don't know how many cars wide they are right now, as we have a driver going to the grass a little bit right there, but he collects it. Oh, no. I see smoke and a car's around. This is not good.
Yes, I do, sir.
So big wreck right here on lap 1. I think it started with the 112, and that's going to be Jeremy Rogers. We'll see who all got collected in this, but a big wreck here on lap 1. Looking at Nicholas Maloche here as he sees the two cars in front of him up into the wall and is unable to avoid that 112 machine. We'll have to go back just a little bit and see what happened to that 112 coming out of turn 2. So let's get you a good look at this one. Following along with Jeremy Rogers here in that Texas A&M machine. Great paint scheme as well for the 112. He goes high in turn 2 and just gets a little quarter panel from the 5. They touch, he gets up into that outside retaining wall. We talked about it in the LCQ. You got to get on the brakes for that wreck, and kind of all the guys in the back of the pack have been in that LCQ, so surprising to see a similar reaction here. But Scott Ratliff getting the worst of it, currently sitting 18th here. And a tough break for Scott, as he's probably going to have to use that fast repair here early.
Yeah, this is looking at this one. This is a tough one. You know, you got a driver to your inside. Maybe he just didn't know that Nicholas Stockner was inside him, and he thought he had more room to turn down, but it did not work out.
So tough break right there. And reminder, if you are just joining us, up in the booth with me is Michael Koholich. Michael normally doing the race stewarding. So he's the one handing out penalties for incidents here in the CIL. And that's why you hear him talking through his thought process right there. So you're getting a little look behind the curtain under this yellow flag. And we'll see if anyone heads down pit lane 2 laps in. Looks like a little fakey action from Jared Kaler and Henry Morris. But I think Scott Ratliff is going to come to pit lane. Oh, Austin Farr. I did not see him initially involved in that, but if you looked at the back end of that 79 machine, a lot of damage to the back end. So Austin Farr not having a good day, and he's your points leader. So this has serious championship implications here, Michael.
That is a huge deal, and that's a huge surprise for me, because honestly, most of the time he's keeping his nose really clean. And I'd have to go back and look and see what the heck happened here. Oh, he was the one driver that we saw initially turning into that inside wall.
So tough break for the 79. This car's coming off of pit lane now. Matthew Nordberg, Cody Fadenhauer, Matthew Tucker, Nick Maloche, Austin Farr, Scott Ratliff, Dan Banner, Jeffrey Ford, Ethan Miles Morris, Jared Grudzicki, Andrew Williams, and Hagen Johnson, all visiting pit lane here on this caution. Austin Farr still in his pit box. I wonder if he's not using his fast repair just yet. That would be interesting. We'll have to see when he comes out of pit road. Lights still on the pace car, so we'll have at least one more lap under yellow before we go green. And right now, who loves to see this? Christian Gomez able to hang on up in that 65 machine. We saw his on board a little bit earlier, representing Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator. And you can see the 3 fingers up for lap number 3 on your screen right there. Good tribute to Dale Sr. from Christian Gomez.
Great tribute here. Sorry, I'm being a little bit quiet here. I'm just trying to take a look at these incidents, especially with the new information on what we saw on Austin, on what the heck happened to Austin Farr. So honestly, it looks like it's at the fault of Thomas Toomey, the number 66 car.
You can see Scott Ratliff trying to beat the pace car off of pit lane, reminiscent of the movie Cars almost right there. As the 747 whips around. He's going to have a long time to catch the back of this field around this 2.5 mile rectangular shaped racetrack. With the field getting stacked up 2 by 2 as they enter turn number 2, your top 5 as they run. Christian Gomez, Sean Campbell, Ryan Lusich, Jared Kaler, and Henry Morse, your top 5. Kind of all how they qualified. So no big changes up there at the top spot. But I imagine we're going to see a lot more changes before this one's said and done. Lap 4 out of 40. We're 10% of the way through the race. And lights off on the pace car, so we'll be back to green here. And we saw it right there. No one wanting to budge. No one wanting to give an inch. And I'm curious if we'll see more of the same, or if we'll see like we saw in the LCQ, that gentleman's agreement run a couple laps in that single file train. I think if we get it, we very well could see a long green flag run.
Yeah, with how some of these races have gone, I really hope we do get that long green flag run. It's really nice as a driver to be able to get into a groove and race and feel those cars around you, get a feel for your tires, get a feel for just how the race is developing. It sucks to be driving your race and you get 5 laps and then man, there's another caution. So hopefully they do go green. It is nice to have that.
Yeah, we'll be able to see tire fall off. We'll be able to see guys duke it out. Maybe even throw a slide job or two before this one
Ready,
is
green,
said
green,
and
green, green.
done. Green flag back in the air, and we're racing again from IMS. Guys diving to the inside. They'll go 3 wide toward the back of the field, but the top spot belongs to Christian Gomez, and Sean Campbell slides into spot number 2.
Sean Campbell, spot number 2. We were talking about him earlier. Great to see him back up front, especially on the oval side. I mean, I guess people might have gotten tired of that if they tune into the bi-weekly road races. But this has been a difficult oval season for Sean. So, oh my goodness, having him back up front is great.
Henry Morse going to go door to door with Carl Lemkool there. Carl's going to get slid under from Derek Jennings in that Grand Canyon University car. Jennings to the bottom side, and you can see how important that bottom groove is and how hard it is to stay on that top side. We mentioned the flat track multiple times here tonight, and we're seeing it right there. Big block from the 199 machine. That's Jeremy Milner and trying to protect that inside. But look at Morse and Lemkool making me a liar right there as they hold the top side, and they'll hold off Derek Jennings.
Yeah, we were talking about something similar in the LCQ of it's lap 6 right now out of 40. Maybe they want to rethink dicing it out like this, throwing blocks. We see them going 3 wide right now on the back straight. Maybe they want to rethink this, try to, yep, as we see the number 99 car back out of it, thinking better of it and preserving his car to drive another day.
And you said it, preserving that car. You only get that one fast repair, so if something happens, and there goes the 66 of Thomas Toomey, I'm guessing heading down pit lane. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. I would guess so for the Virginia team, but here comes Nicholas Stockner in the number 5. He's going to go to the inside of that Rainbow Warriors Purdue machine.
Yeah, Thomas Toomey, that number 66 car, he's actually serving a drive-through penalty right now, and I don't know why he would be serving a drive-through penalty if we usually go EOLs, but there we are. He was deemed at fault for the Austin Farr incident, where he would have caused a collision.
There we go. Thomas Toomey had to take a drive-through penalty, meaning he has to drive through pit lane without service to the car. And that's why you saw him head down pit lane. The top 4 all single file. They're trying to break away from this pack. Carl Lemkool back there in 5th, leading the second pack. But Henry Morse dive into the inside of Derek Jennings, and he will get that spot, slide up in front of him after turn 1. Single file the rest of the way back to, I believe that's 11th. It is. A little touch right there from the 199. Everybody survives. Esteban Munoz for the FIU team. And it looks like Ethan Head has a little bit of trouble here. We're under yellow, our second of the night here at IMS. Let's take another look at what just happened. Further on back in the pack, looks like the 98 machine. That's Nicholas Milosh washing up into Ethan Head, and Ethan Head up in the wall. Kudos to him trying to stay up out of the rest of the field. And the 8 machine, heavy damage to that Tennessee machine. That's the dark mode paint scheme. We talked about them having 3 different paint schemes, 3 different Tennessee drivers here tonight. And the dark mode not looking too hot after that one. Big hit on that outside retaining wall, but again, able to keep it up and out of the rest of the field. So single car incident has put us under yellow for the second time here tonight at Indianapolis.
And that's tough. That's tough with that outside retaining wall there, going too wide. Maybe someone gets a little bit of a bump. Rubbin's racing, and he ended up in the wall, and he kind of collected it, but he got a little bit of a damage out of it, and these things happen.
They do, and the top 5 has pretty much remained unchanged. Henry Morris has dropped to 6th. Carl Lemkool sneaks up into the top 5. So good run for them. And we saw it right there. The top 5 start to be single file. And I think if we would have been just a little bit longer, we would have gotten the green flag run we keep talking about. We keep hoping for, praying for, and it's only a matter of time until we get it. And I think it's quickly on the horizon.
Don't we all? I really hope. Let's just do it, boys. Come on.
So we'll see if there are any takers on pit lane. You saw Andrew Williams, that Clemson car, head to pit lane. Looks like Ricky Paz going to join as well. Lights remain on the pace car. So at least one more lap of yellow, and we'll be joined in the booth by your leader, Christian Gomez, joining us now. And Christian, 2 yellows in about 10 laps. What's your pit strategy here with 30 to go? Do you want to share that with us?
No. I will not.
I thought that'd be tough to get out of you, but take us through your qualifying run. We've seen you be very fast here at Indianapolis so far. Is this a track that really suits your driving style?
In the past, before I was doing iRacing, I used to do Forza kind of professionally-ish. And one of the events I used to do, the sanctioning body was the Indy 500. So I've done a lot of laps at this track. I love it to death. Finally got to see it in person this year. And I consider Indianapolis a second home for me personally, as far as like tracks and sim racing. So yeah, I love this place. And yeah, very happy that the qualifying turned out really well.
Yeah, you've been killing it. And I think a lot of people at home watching want to know about what you're wearing here tonight on camera for us.
Josh picked a good night to flake out because I was going to give him some commentary on his Gordon flag, but yeah. Real men wear black and silver. Earnhardt, man, the legend, and yeah, just having a fun time here in the Halloween race.
All right, well, looks like we're going back to green, so you go get them.
All right, thank you.
So Christian Gomez right there. You heard it right there. Real men wear black and silver, but their car's a little blue and white, so we'll have to talk with them about that after the race. Pace car takes a wild left-hand turn on the pit lane there. Cuts across the nose at 65, and here we go, guys. Weaving, trying to get some heat in those tires. Green flag back in the air. Here, a little shift back there around 6th or 7th place. Guys diving on the top side, guys diving on the inside. They'll be 2 by 2 back behind, but Christian Gomez off to the races.
Christian Gomez, here he is. He doesn't want to say anything about his strategy, and for good reason. I mean, look at him just start to pull away a little bit here. Of course, the guys behind have some draft, and well, if you got some kind of competitive advantage going on, and you want to keep that stuff under wraps.
Yeah, and his teammate, the number 9 of Esteban Munoz, mixing it on up here with number 5 of Nicholas Stockner, one of the Clemson drivers. They got the 99 of Edwin Onefre in front of him. Onefre, one of the University of North Texas drivers, relatively new to the CIL, and he's having a good run here tonight. They're going to go 2 by 2 down the front straightaway. We'll see if they spread out. Christian Gomez leading the top 5 as they dive down to the bottom, go back to the top. But this battle from 7th back to about 13th starting to heat on up here at IMS.
Yeah, it looks like that top 5 has their stuff figured out right now. They're not really battling, not going side by side, staying in line. And as I say that, someone goes a little bit wide, and Henry Morse is looking up the inside here into turn 3. But I think this top 5 has their stuff figured out as we have a yellow come out, and they're just going to pull away as the other guys battle.
So yellow out, not quite sure what for just yet. We'll try and get it to you here momentarily.
Lots
You're looking
of
at
cars.
Grant Lemkool on the inside, and I think that's going to be part of what caused it. He went off the track. We'll see if he was forced or helped. It looks like, yeah, he got into Jake Drew, the number 9. The 59 involved as well. You see Austin Farr sneak down there, and then a little extracurriculars. Scott Ratliff involved. big wreck right there. We see Jeremy Rogers, looks like Ricky Paz, the 143 of Matthew Tucker. Lots of cars involved in this one. We'll see if we can get you a look from high up above Indianapolis Motor Speedway on this one. One more look at it here from Scott Ratliff's point of view. We'll see what happens in this kind of secondary wreck. Looks like Jeremy Rogers gets into Cody Fadenhauer, and everyone else just kind of along for the ride.
Wow. That's tough, especially for all the people collected in that. That's a lot of cars. And looking at this incident, it's really, really black and white here. Grant and Jake Drew here were alongside, and I don't know why. Jake Drew comes across the track here, but he just puts Grant in the wall, and it doesn't just have consequences for Grant. It's got consequences for almost everyone behind them. Oh my goodness.
So I'll take one more look at it here. You can see the two mixing it up. Jake Drew on the outside, that number 9 machine. Yeah, just gets
What
into
is
the
he
quarter
doing?
panel of Grant Lemko. I don't know if he got a clear call there and he wasn't quite clear. But yeah, it sends Grant Lemko to the inside and puts us under our 3rd yellow of the night. And guys heading down pit lane, your first car, or your highest scoring car, Logan Slavoski, the number 17 machine from Queen's University of Charlotte. He came in, he was right in that top 10 area. He's going to come down for 4 tires and fuel, and everyone else involved in that wreck going to get those cars fixed up as well. But looks like Slavoski going to be our first driver to really get tires on lap 14 out of 40. You get 2 sets, so he might be thinking, let's use them now. Whereas guys at the front, they might be saying, I need to stay at the front and stay out of that mess back there.
Staying out of the mess is the name of the game. You do not want to be caught up in these wrecks. You want to keep your car clean. You want to not use that quick repair. That is absolutely the name of the game.
So we mentioned Austin Farr being the points leader. He's having a tough night. You can see his car right there. He's all the way back in 21st position currently. And with Jared Kaler in second, that's not what the UKT esports team, that University of Tennessee at Knoxville, UTK esports team, wants to see, as they want to see the 79 in victory lane. But it's going to be a tall task for the Tennessee team. Maybe needs some luck, maybe needs pit strategy to go his way. And I tell you what, Michael, if we keep getting cautions like this, it's very difficult to gain those positions because everyone's just so aggressive on these restarts.
Yeah, it's difficult to gain positions on the restarts, and it's difficult to gain positions while you're under caution. You can't pass under caution, so how the heck am I going to move up the field if we're behind the pace car? So I'm sure there's a lot of guys in the back right now that are thinking, what the heck, let's just get on with it. Let's not crash, but let's go, guys. Come on.
So field will go by the start-finish line, lap 15 out of 40. So you see the lap counter switch over to 26 laps to go as everyone crossing that start-finish line. I think we'll be green flag here. Should be this time by. Yeah, you're going to see the field group up 2 by 2. Lights on, but it could switch off here in a moment as the field gets gathered on up. We'll try and get you back green. Yep, lights go off on the pace car, and we'll be set to go green at the end of this lap. So 25 to go when we hit the line. Jared Kaler and Christian Gomez have been the top 2 so far, but Michael, has anyone surprised you here early in this one?
Looking at it, I mean, I think the biggest surprise for me is Austin Farr getting caught up in someone. But as far as people moving up, I guess we've got Nicholas Stockner going from 18th position to now he's in the top 10. And so that's great movement. Someone that's been able to take advantage of the green flag periods we have had. Maybe it's some pit strategy. Same with Ryan Fenty. He's up in the top 6. Wow, he's putting himself in a great position. That's all I've really got.
Yeah, Ryan Fenty was definitely going to be my pick right there. You see him; he's moved up 9 positions up to that sixth spot there for the St. Joe's College team. And we saw his onboard earlier, just looking cool, calm, and collected. As you stare down that front straightaway, you'll see the field squeeze on by. That pace car will take that left-hand turn onto pit road, and it will be green once again here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Christian Gomez, the control car. He can go when he chooses.
flag.
The rest of the field will follow. Good jump for the 65 machine on his outside the 58. Maybe going to slide on in, and there he goes. Top 2 single file. Henry Morse going to try and slide on in right behind Sean Campbell.
And you know, the front of the field, these are good skilled drivers. They're not up here for nothing. And see how fast they figured that out. It looked like they were going to dice it up and go absolutely bananas, but boom, just like that, top 7, 8 right there in a line. They're trying to survive this thing.
And you see it, almost the top 20, all single file, trying to figure it on out. And back here, 2x2 action. Austin Trainer, you're looking at him in the 39 here. Samuel Schur on the inside. And he's going to be able to survive that. Dan Banner in the 77. Surprised we haven't seen the 77 jump up to the front for St. Clair College. And there goes Scott Ratliff all the way down to the bottom in that Pittsburgh State machine. As you're looking at the back of the field, really mixing on up as we head back towards your leaders as they exit turn number 2.
Yeah, just like you said, man, it's top 20, almost like it, just in a row. They're gonna wait. They're gonna wait. We'll know when it changes. We'll know when they make that decision, but they're gonna wait right now, and they're not gonna be making any dumb moves. But as I say that, we got Jared Kaler looking inside. Not that it's a dumb move. I don't want to say that, but looks like he wants to move up into the lead. You know, lead a few laps here from Christian Gomez. And Gomez might have to let it go, but they're going to keep going at this.
And you can see lap traffic just on the horizon for them. But Gomez has the draft. Here comes Henry Morse, going to help out Jared Kaler. We've seen those two work together over the course of the year. But you see how powerful the inside line is. But again, Christian Gomez said he loves Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he's able to make that second groove work. Sean Campbell holding on the outside. It looks like he's going to hold off Morse, but Morse going to try and get in the toe of the 58 machine as they try to attack Christian Gomez.
Sean Campbell is going to stay on that outside line at all costs. Sean, I've talked to him a lot before. He loves the outside line. It doesn't matter what track it is, whether it's road, whether it's oval. Sean can absolutely hang on that outside line, and he's just demonstrating it again. You know, he's held this position on the outside line, and yeah.
That's definitely a skill to be good at that outside line. As you see him see the one board, see that little exit in the wall, turn it on into turn 1, right on board with Ryan Fenty here for St. Joseph's College. You can see that little Halloween scheme with the blood on the front of the St. Joe's machine. But this top 9, all single file, Nicholas Stockner making up the back of this first pack as we look back at Carl Lemkool leading the charge of cars. About 6 cars, led by Jeremy Milner, Edwin Onefre, and Austin DeLong.
That paint job by Ryan Fenty is really good too. I wish I had seen that earlier. I would have thrown his name in the ring. I kind of feel bad about it now, but Ryan Fenty, that's a great paint as well, with the blood splatter especially. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness, car
And
around.
speaking of Ryan Fenty, that's him on the inside.
It is.
We're gonna have to find out what happened to the 26 car. I would guess he was helped on that one. Let's take a quick peek at the replay.
Oh, he was helped by our old friend, our old non-moving friend. Oh no, the wall.
That turn 4 wall, you saw it right there, Fenty up into that no man's land off of turn 4, carrying a lot of speed. You can hear him, he's off the throttle. He knows it, just trying to save as much as he can. It looks like he's going to have to use that fast repair. Right after we complimented him about his race, about his paint scheme, And that's that commentator's curse in action right there, ladies and gentlemen. You
No,
don't
no,
want us to talk about you.
don't put that evil on me, Jarrett. No, 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 no. I just complimented him on his paint scheme. I wasn't talking about him being the top 6 or anything. How great he's doing. I just said his car looked good. Okay, don't put that on me. No, no, no.
So our 4th yellow of the night here. With Christian Gomez hanging on. So we'll see if they come down pit lane just yet. We're about at the halfway point. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see guys come down pit lane for tires. It looks like here comes the entire field. And Michael, I think you are on pit lane. You'll be able to let us know who's taking 2, who's taking 4, and how these pit crews are doing.
Yeah, that is the true thing. I am down here on pit lane right now, and we're not seeing any cars go in here right now yet to their pit boxes. But as we get down there, you could hear the guns getting ready, and oh my goodness, all these cars going into their pit boxes. We've got Christian Gomez here up front, Sean Campbell there in the box. It's going to be interesting to see whether they go 1 or 2 sets of tires. And, 20 laps to go wouldn't make sense for anything else other than all 4 tires. And that looks like it's going to be the case as we get the race off of pit lane. Oh my goodness, that was close.
Close indeed it was, but I think Gomez might have just edged out Jared Kaler right there. We'll have to go back and take a peek at that race off of pit road as you see everyone else fly off of pit road. Ryan Fenty with the new front bumper on that car, and he'll try to make his way up through the field. Scott Ratliff has his car fully repaired as well. But a couple cars staying out. Your top 7 here have stayed out. Logan Slavoski, Thomas Toomey, Jeffrey Ford, Alexander Gagnon, Sam Schurer, and Zach Lindler and Ethan and Miles Morris all staying out here. They've come down pit lane around lap 13 for most of them, lap 9 for Thomas Toomey, and lap 9 for Jeffrey Ford as well. So you're going to see, we saw it in the LCQ, exactly this, a 7-lap difference in tires, and we're going to see it here in the feature.
Wow, and I guess in the LCQ we didn't really see that much of a difference. I guess we didn't really have enough time with how many laps were left, and so maybe they're gambling on another caution happening, being able to go and get tires again. But then these other guys, they would just be on slightly older tires. I really don't know what to make of this strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about kind of that gentleman's agreement that we saw last run of guys getting single file, guys starting to look like they were having a race. And outside of a single car incident, we would have been still under green. So I think we might see a little of that. But with 19 to go and guys on fresh tires back behind, I think we're going to see that middle of the field turn into a little bit of a hornet's nest here on this restart.
Well, that's a good point, but let's think about these are the guys that were in the back going and dicing it out a lot. So maybe we'll see some action here up front, and maybe the guys, our Christian Gomez's, our Jared Kalers, maybe they'll keep it relaxed as these guys are dicing it out. Maybe they'll let something happen. Maybe, I don't know. Anything could happen right now.
Anything could happen. That's what we love about these races here in the CIL. You never know quite what you're going to get. And here at a big track, 2.5 miles, like Indianapolis Motor Speedway is, it can get a little bit dicey. You keep saying dicey, and I think that's a great word for it. Guys, mixing it up, especially with these with the draft package as it is in iRacing with these NASCAR Cup cars, so you get such good runs behind not only just one car, but if 2 cars are side by side, you'll watch that third car just come flying up with a ton of speed. And I think we're going to see a little bit of that here on this restart. Pay attention to Ethan Miles Morris. Looks like the front end's missing on that 25 machine, so we'll see if he gets out of the way or how other cars behind navigate him. Right now, Jared Kaler, the car behind him. Logan Slavoski, the control car for this restart from Queen's University at Charlotte. He'll get a good roll here, and he dives all the way to the bottom, trying to break up that draft a little bit. Right behind him, Jeffrey Ford in that Missouri machine. It looks like a really good jump for Slavoski.
Great jump, outstanding jump, multiple car lengths right now. to the second car, Thomas Toomey. And we'll see how long this lasts, especially with the long back straight coming up. But wow, he has pulled out a lead right now.
I tell you what, Christian Gomez, Henry Morris, wasting no time getting to work there with those fresh new Goodyear Eagles. They've moved all the way up to 6th already on this restart. Gomez to the low side. He's going to try and sneak by Samuel Schur in front of him in the 59. He thinks about setting it 3 wide. Little touch right there. Looks
I don't know
like
about
both
that
guys
block.
going to save it for the time being. They're 3 wide with Jared Kaler all the way down on the bottom. Here comes Henry Morse to pick up his friend Kaler. Gomez is going to try and jump in line. Trouble on the front straightaway.
Oh, man. Right behind
you're getting yourself
our
something
big
to
guys
drink
at
there,
least.
buddy.
But oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This car, this track is blocked. Holy heck.
And that is the big one. We thought we saw it last week. No, it's this week. Everybody involved. We saw our championship leader, Austin Farr, involved. A lot of
No.
drivers involved in this one.
Wow, that is huge for the championship, especially with the other guys making moves already back up to the front nearly. Wow. It's while you were talking, I looked up some synonyms. This is very touch and go. This is precarious per se. This is high risk. This is perilous. Getting a little bit dicey, yeah?
So we'll see from high up above Matthew Nordberg's perspective, just in front, trouble. And then it just continues down the road, and that is tough for a lot of these guys in the back.
Oh, we're going to have to get a look at Austin Farr's perspective. It actually started from the car right in front of him. Oh, this could be spicy. This could be tricky. Oh, no.
Austin Farr in the 79, your championship leader. And you can hear Michael joining us over the voice comms. Michael is a race steward, so he's figuring out all the penalties to be assessed to these drivers, and that could have serious implications to the championship. Boy, oh boy, things are heating up. 16 laps to go. We're still under yellow. Jeremy Milnerin, Ryan Fenty, Ethan Head, Austin Farr among your drivers on pit lane right now, trying to get squared away. But I tell you who breathes a sigh of relief. It's Christian Gomez, Jared Kaler, and Henry Morris, who've been your top 3 really all night long. And they did the most to get out in front of that wreck that happened just behind them. And looks like here they come for their second set of tires. Nope, a little fake out right there. And we won't see any takers on pit lane except Jeffrey Ford. So it looks like he's going to come down for his second set of Goodyear Eagles. With 16 to go, I think that's a good call. Although we've seen track position be quite important as well. So it's a tough call. Do you want to sacrifice track position, or do you want to get those fresh tires on now rather than later? But I wouldn't be surprised if we have not seen our last caution before the end of the night as well. Keep in mind our last caution quite often occurring inside that 5-lap window.
Yeah, cautions seem to be the name of the game, or at least avoiding them right now. And, you mentioned those front runners, the big hitters, the guys up there in the points. We had Austin Farr caught up in that. And you know who was right behind that accident when it happened? Our boy Ryan Fenty up there. He ended up smack dab in the middle of that roadblock, and he had nowhere to go because the track was so blocked. That was bad.
And you said it right there. Sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's skill, and sometimes you're just wrong place, wrong time.
Oh no, and it was Sean Campbell too. Sean Campbell got caught up in that.
Boy, a lot of guys we saw at the front all of a sudden stuck at the back after that one. So Austin Farr, Ryan Fenty, Sean Campbell, Matthew Nordberg, a lot of those big name drivers pushed to the back of the pack. Tough break for a lot of these guys with that wreck.
Disappointing. I can take the commentator's curse on Sean. I can take the commentator's curse on that one. I'm sorry, Sean.
So 15 to go. When we hit the stripe, it's going to be 14 to go. Logan Slovoski hanging on in that first spot. He's got Thomas Toomey behind him, Alexander Gagnon third, Henry Morris fourth, and Jared Kaler rounding out your top 5. But I tell you what, a couple names in that top 10 area to make note of. Zach Lindler having a very good race for the Clemson team in that 37 machine. He's gained 28 positions. We'll see if he's just hanging on. I think that's the strategy, Michael, of these guys up front. That Logan Slovoski, Thomas Toomey, Zach Lindler, is they've pitted earlier. They've seen the yellow flag kind of pattern, and they're thinking, hey, more yellows are going to come out. I just have to defend, survive a lap or two, and I'll be able to hang on to a good finish here. And I tell you what, I like that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, the same way you can't move forward if you're under caution, you can't move backwards if you're under caution. And you're not putting any wear on the tires under caution because you're not at racing speeds. So, I mean, these guys, they have a certain amount of laps on these tires, but if you look at it, how many race laps do they have on these tires? And maybe that makes a good enough difference that they can hang on here. I don't know, but we got Jared Kaler chomping at the bit right behind what number car is that? Our 81 car, Alex Gagnon.
Yes, we'll see how these guys mix it up on this restart. Will guys behave? Do guys want to just go for it? So we got a good one set to go. Here's the field heads toward turn 4 and gets ready to go again from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. They'll get the green with 13 laps to go. So we're starting to count down on the finish here at IMS, but the field going to be in the hands of Logan Slovoski. Christian Gomez all the way back there in 6th. He's got some room to make up, but we'll see if they do it on this restart. So Slovoski, the control cars, he's got Toomey on the outside, and once again dives to the bottom. We'll see if he gets as good of a jump as he did on last restart. Looks like Toomey, pretty good jump on the top side, but again, that car length and 2 car length gap for Slovoski. Very good restart there.
And we're seeing some of the guys that might not have been up front this whole race getting a little bit dicey here as Jared Kaler tries to push his way up the field with Christian Gomez close in tow and Ryan Lusich. And so we'll see if they can get past this number 81 car. It looks like they will, especially with these brand new tires.
Yeah, the brand new tires. You can see a little wrinkle on the back of that Robert Morris University car up on the top side as well. So they'll sneak on by. And Ryan Lusich quietly having a really good race right there for the North Texas team. He's going to try and sneak by as well. You see them dive all the way down to the inside wall and all the way back to the top side. Trying to break up that draft, trying to get as much advantage as you can. Henry Morse up into that 2nd spot. He's chomping at the bit to try and get this lead.
Oh, and I think he's definitely going to have him here. Look how fast he's closing in just as the corner goes on. There's several tenths happening right just in that corner. And I don't know if he's going to make a move right now. Yep. Oh, maybe not. Maybe he's lifting. Maybe he's thinking better of it. Maybe he wants this race to settle down a little bit more before he maybe sends it. But I think he can do it. I think he's got this move had if he decides to go for it.
Battle continuing to rage on here as they dive back to the inside. The top 10 single file. You see the field coming off of turn 4. Looks like everyone just agreeing to ride this one out for a couple laps. And maybe Henry Morse. Keep in mind that arrow push. I think Henry Morse is well versed in it. I think his tires are good enough that he's not going to be too concerned about it. When you get behind that car heading towards turns 1 and 3, that car all of a sudden doesn't want to turn, and that wall comes up on you quick. But Henry Morse closing in on Logan Slovoski, and he might make the move here. Can't quite get the quarter panel just yet. And back behind him, Gomez and Kaler. He goes to the inside. Gonna force the 96 up the track just a bit. Good door-to-door action right here.
Oh my goodness. Good racing. Outstanding. Good job keeping it clean for both of them. That was a fantastic move. And if you just look at the way when Henry Morse enters the corner, you can see his car doesn't react to the way some of these guys are. He really gets that nose in there. he kind of leans on the rear tires as he gets into this corner, and it's really helping him get through it quickly.
You can see it on your screen right there. The exit speed of the 44 going to make him tough to catch if he can start to pull away here. And I think Jared Kaler knows that, and he knows he's got to get right back in the tow. And I think the 65 realizes that as well, goes with him, and they're going to try and chase down the 44.
Who did I pick pre-race? Was it Henry Morse that I picked pre-race?
I believe so.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Oh no. But I've already cursed one person. I've cursed Sean, so I don't want to. I'm just gonna stop right here. I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead, and while Henry Morse is ahead, and we're just gonna let this race play out.
Single file action all the way back to a little 2x2 action back there. It looked like Tristan Yoder leading a group of cars, but they've since singled on out. Robert Morris University to the inside. That is the 09 of Tristan Yoder. He's got Sam Schurer up in front of him as they cycle Zach Lindler to the top side. Trouble for sure. He gets loose right there, and tough break for another Clemson driver. He smacks the wall, but the 59 going to lose a couple spots after that one.
You gotta look out for that wall. It'll get you.
And the wall is not going to get out of the way for you as maybe a couple other drivers will. Your top three, Morse, Kaler, and Gomez, as they run. And these top three maybe trying to pull away a little bit, opening up the gap back to Slavoski and Lucic. I think he wanted to get around and kind of hang on to the tail end of those top three. Not able to do it. As further back, Thomas Toomey dives to the inside, trying to work with the Penn College of Technology. That's Austin DeLong.
Tell you what, I think Ryan Lucic is very well aware of what's at stake here if he stays behind this number 17 car. So he's definitely going to be looking to make a move as we go into turn 3. I don't know if it's actually on the broadcast, but we're going in with Logan Slavoski. Yep, here we go. And he knows if he loses this draft that Henry Morse is going to keep going up front, and Jared Kaler, Christian Gomez are going to stay in tow. He's got to get moving if he wants a shot at this win.
He does. You can see how hard it is to pass as well. As here comes Esteban Munoz, another Panther Esports driver, maybe sneaking his way on up. But the top three, all single file, all kind of wrapped under a blanket here. It's the 44, the 58, and the 65. Your top three drivers and a little
Henry
tap
Morse
of the wall.
Where did that wall come from? It came out of nowhere. Who put that there?
And Jared Kaler going to take advantage immediately. Goes to the inside. Gomez trying to figure out who he wants to work with. He chooses Kaler. They go to the bottom, and it's 2 versus 1. Here's further on back. Lucic just getting blocked. Not able to sneak around the 17 just yet.
Oh, man, as Esteban Munoz starts creeping up on Ryan and Logan, I guess we'll see what happens here. Do you think Esteban is going to stay behind Ryan because they're on similar strategies, they got similar pace, or do you think Munoz is going to try to force his way past Ryan?
I think if you're Esteban, you got to go with Ryan. You got to help him by, and then you got to hope he works with you a little bit to sneak up to those top three. But yeah, we've got a pair of 3-car battles. It's the top three, and then these three, Slavoski, Lucic, and Munoz. And then further on back, all single file through the top 15.
You gotta wonder in this top three, who are the friends here, huh? You know, we saw Christian Gomez. He picked Jared Kaler, but maybe I'm looking into it a little bit too far. Maybe it's just Morse didn't have the run out of that corner because he had the lower speed, and Christian had no choice. But looks like they're settling back in. It doesn't look like there's any damage or very minimal damage whatsoever on Morse's car, so he should be okay.
Should be, and you see that front stretch draft. He's still a car length back. I'm surprised we're not seeing the 44 close as much, but keep in mind if the 65 and the 58 go side by side, then you'll really see the 44 close on up. It's just the way those cars punch a hole through the air. For whatever reason, that trail car behind 2 cars going side by side really gets a tow. And it looks like Morris even falling off just a little bit. Kaler, he's decided it's hammer time and it's go time. Opened up a 2-car length gap on the back straightaway.
Yeah, and I think those of us that do some of this racing, we've all had these moments, that oh crap moment, and then maybe we back off a little bit. It's when you're going 155 on the autobahn, and you're thinking, man, what if my tire flies off right now? And then you lose 10 miles an hour just doing that. You just look down and it's gone. So I don't know. Maybe he's having a little bit of a rubberneck here, a little bit of a brake check on himself. Like, hey, whoa, 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 whoa. I was just leading and then I hit the wall. Maybe he's just got to collect himself a little bit here.
And tell you what, further on back, this battle for fourth raging on. Esteban Munoz has dived to the bottom side. They both, himself and Lucic, snuck around, but oh my goodness, 17 of Slavoski wanted to go 3 wide. Slavoski holding his own here on older tires, really making it work in that 17. It's a 17 on the scoring tower, the 96 on your screen. And Ryan Whitlock has jumped up to join the battle as well.
Here he is, Ryan Whitlock, and also Derek Jennings behind Ryan and Slavoski here. So here making a little bit of contact. So it looks like Esteban was looking to get past Lucic. We were talking about maybe is he going to work together with him or send it, and the move didn't work out there, but I don't know, they're making moves.
And keep in mind, you do get college points as well. Think of them as team points from Formula One. Your top finishing driver gets those points. So FIU trying to get as many points as they can here, be it through Christian Gomez or if something happens to him. Now they've got Esteban Munoz to fall
car on
back
the inside
on.
wall.
Car on the inside wall. I think it's Colin Kolpa. It is for Indiana, and that's going to bring out the yellow flag. So interesting turn of events here, as all of a sudden we're going to have a one-lap shootout here in the CIL.
Oh man, this is where the gloves come off. The one-lap shootout. This is where I'm talking about Jared Kaler getting a push from Christian instead of Morse getting the push. This is where even that stuff goes out the window. I think you'll see little sprays of pink as they take their brains and throw them out of their skulls.
Indeed, and you mentioned it, all bets are off. The guys you worked with might all of a sudden be your enemies, as a little contact between the 22 and the 06 sends Culpa to the inside retaining wall. Tough hit right there on the driver's side door, and that's where we're grateful that we're in the sim here, not in real life, because that's a tough hit right there in real life. But thankfully, no harm, no foul here on iRacing. But the field's going to get gathered on up. We'll see if we can get a green flag here. There is no overtime here in the CIL. We'll try our best to finish under green, but it looks like we might be finishing under yellow unless we get the one to go here momentarily.
No, we can't finish a race like this under yellow. I really hope we get going. Maybe it'll get extended a little bit for green-white checkered.
We'll have to wait and see here. And if not, Jared Kaler is going to make up a ton of ground on Austin Farr, who's all the way back in 39th here tonight. So we mentioned Austin Farr coming into the night leading the points. Keep in mind, he's not used his drop week. This would presumably be his drop week. But yeah, that's going to really shake up the points.
Yeah, with one race to go after this one, we certainly hope that that's his drop week, because if he has a good result here, then anything could happen in the last race, and then he doesn't need to really worry about it. But if this is his week, that's pretty tough. You got a lot of pressure going into the last week.
And Austin Farr definitely thrives under pressure. So would not be surprised if we see a good run from him. But it looks like we are going to finish under the yellow flag here tonight. So Jared Kaler gonna come away your victor here at Indianapolis and able to just survive, make the moves when he needed to. And he snuck by Henry Morse just in the nick of time, Michael.
Yeah, talk about in the nick of time. That was, not very long before that caution. And if we had that caution a little bit earlier, well, I guess we would still go green. But let's say Henry Morse doesn't make that mistake there and hits the wall. We got a different winner. but these things happen. And wow, I mean, so confirmed 100% finishing under yellow.
Yeah, we are. White flag was in the air. We're coming to the checkered flag now. And that UNC Charlotte Halloween scheme is going to look good on Victory Lane here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. UNC Charlotte team will go kiss the bricks, as they say. And what a good win for UNC Charlotte. A little respect from the 65. A little tap on the bumper right there as we'll wrap it on up here at Indianapolis.
I'll tell you what, that was a fantastic race, and I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see a shootout right there at the end. But what a race! You know, a few cautions here and there, but well deserved by Jared Kaler to bring the W out on this one. And we get a little
half
bump
right there from Christian Gomez as well, saying, "Man, I wish I'd passed you." But yeah, good race right there. And we saw that green flag run at the end. Congratulations to Jared Kaler from a bunch of guys here. But yeah, that run at the end, that was so much fun. And Morris, just that little slip up, and that's what can cost you. It's a little slip up at the wrong time, and we saw it both in incidents and in that pass for the win. So we'll hear from Henry here in a moment. But right now, Jared Kaler gonna bring it on around for that victory lap, so to speak. But once again, a very good run. And I think we'll have to confirm this, that Jared Kaler is going to be your new championship leader going into week number 6. But again, that drop week could change everything. Michael?
Yeah, that's true, but that's also huge to have your rival get taken out by something, and now you're winning. Now you're in the lead of the championship, and we know Jared Kaler's no stranger to leading a championship, as I believe it was season 1 that he won, correct?
Yep. Our pilot season, actually. Jared Kaler was our pilot season champion. So no stranger to victory lane, to the championship circle, and either road or oval. He's done it on both.
Just an all-around great driver.
Yeah, and that's what we'd love to see here. And as Jared Kaler burns on down, let's take you through your top 10 finishers, brought to you by InnoVetted Labs. Jared Kaler coming away your victor here tonight. Christian Gomez in second for FIU. Third place is going to be Henry Morse. Fourth, Ryan Lusich. Fifth, Esteban Munoz. Sixth, Derek Jennings. Logan Slavoski holds on for seventh. Ryan Whitlock with a great run, up 13 spots from where he started. He finishes at 8th. Carl Lemkool comes away 9th and the first of your alumni. And Jake Drew coming all the way from the LCQ up to 10th. A great run for him here tonight. So joining us up in the booth is Christian Gomez. And Christian, we saw a fun little battle there at the end. We were sad we couldn't see more of it. But talk about trying to chase down Jared Kaler there in those last couple laps.
I'm trying to find a page. So there's light. There we go. Is that good?
You are looking good, my friend.
All right. What was the question again? Sorry.
I was asking you about trying to chase down Jared Kaler there on those final couple of laps.
It's just a product of the package, man. You can't catch up to anybody. It's it was getting to rattling cage time there, but didn't get close enough to get to him there. But either way, congrats to him. I know he's in a deep championship battle. Wouldn't have moved him either way. I would have tried to pass him clean there because I know there's a lot along the line for him. For me, it's just more about moral victories, and especially after the season I've had to get a P2 and see Esteban finish in 5th as well. That's strong for our team. You know, to go from where we were just like, hey, let's just try to get 2 drivers in the top 10. Now we're getting 2 drivers in the top 5. So lots of great progress. And yeah, just couldn't get to Jared. Just couldn't get to him, unfortunately. But yeah, it's I gotta wear these things more. Honestly, I drove a lot better today. Maybe lose the stash, but yeah.
Christian, I gotta ask, what are you thinking? Henry Morse leading the race, and he goes into the wall. What are you thinking whenever you're coming out of turn 2, and you're trying to decide who you want to push?
What I'm thinking at that moment. Sorry for my dog. What I'm thinking at that moment is inside line. I have to be on the inside line going into 3, especially since the country was made off of 1. and the two of them were side by side into two. So I went with Jared there, and because I knew I would have the advantage going into three. So yeah, that was the thought process behind that. And man, if I only if there was at least a green white checker because both their cars are wounded, man, I probably would have ran away with it here. But yeah, it was quite surprised to see the two make a mistake like that.
Nice.
Yeah, so last thing before we send you on your way. We saw your qualifying run and then we saw your speed through the midfield. What we asked you, I think I can ask you now. Did you have a pit strategy in mind or was it just kind of follow the leader in terms of guys around you?
The pit strategy was honestly just pit a halfway. That was it, and that's exactly what I did. The caution came out there right at halfway, so I went in. Everybody else followed me. I did entertain the thought of possibly going for my second set there after that big crash, but I felt if I go back, I'm never gonna rake up that track position. It was already bad enough as it was, so. And either way, the caution came out, so probably wouldn't have had enough time to regain the positions I would have lost. So I think the good strategy was just doing what I did, just pit a halfway, get the tires on there, and yeah, just keep track position and give it a good run.
Definitely. Well, a good run you gave us and good show as well. Looking great here tonight, Christian Gomez. So, anyone you want to give a shout out to here on the broadcast?
I'd like to thank Panther Esports again and Florida National University for the opportunity to represent them here on the CIL. Like to thank you guys for everything that you do, and yeah, home race next week. That one's if we don't win that one, I don't know what we're gonna. But we gotta show up big for Homestead. So the work for that now begins. We still got Spa to do next week, but yeah, just chugging along. And yeah, thanks to everybody and all the guys in the team for all the hard work they're putting in this season. Just 2 more weeks to go here.
All right. Well, always great talking to you. Always great watching you on the track. And I'm sure it's not the last time we'll talk to you this season. Christian Gomez, enjoy your night and enjoy that second place finish. So Christian Gomez, a good run for the Panther Esports team, and he comes away second. And now joining us in the booth is your race winner, Jared Kaler, who was the beneficiary of a little misstep from Henry Morse, and that's just how close it is. And Jared, we asked Christian what your thought was when you saw Henry Morse go into the wall. Was there any thought process, or was it just get around him, make the move now? Walk us through that one.
Oh man, with how these these cars were, I was going up in the wall anyway with the arrow push. I was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna try and not hit the wall as much as Henry did, and fortunately, I was able to keep it off a bit more than he was, and I was able to just send it down the inside. And uh, thanks to Christian for giving me the push down the back stretch. He could have chosen to go with Henry, but he decided to push me past Henry, and I want to give a shout out to him for that push because that ultimately got me to the lead.
Good stuff. And after that, something like that happens, you end up with, kind of in a way a teammate, a friend behind you pushing you to the lead, and holy crap, the leader just hit the wall. What are you thinking then? What's going through your mind? Hitting your marks, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, getting out in front here, I think we saw all day was just a huge advantage. And from that point, I'm just like, okay, just keep it out of the fence. And I was taking it pretty conservative once I got to the lead because I was like, all I need to do is keep out of the fence and I'll be able to win this just because of how the aerodynamics work on these cars and the dirty air and everything. It's so incredibly difficult to pass here. So all day, like once I got to the front, I was just like, okay, just keep it out of the fence, keep it out of the fence.
Right on.
Yeah, so you mentioned how hard it is to get around the field. Was there any concern when you came down pit lane and then you saw 8 cars in front of you all pitted on lap 7? Or were the tires good enough of a difference that you were confident you could make it around them?
I knew the tires were going to be good enough. I just didn't know what was going to happen with like how they were going to race each other and how they were going to race me and all the other guys on new tires. I just didn't know how much chaos there was going to be. And I was just like, all right, I'll just try to keep the car in one piece here, and if we can get around him, then I'll maybe have a shot for the win. And fortunately, that's what happened.
Yeah, and a big win is Austin Farr. I don't know if you were able to see it at all. Finished 39th here tonight. So I believe that's going to put you temporarily in that championship spot minus the drop week. But going into the final race, looking good for that UNC Charlotte team. So, Jared Kaler, anyone you want to give a final shout out to here is before we go to the InnoVetted Labs victory lane?
Just want to give a shout out to you guys for putting it on. We got one more race left, and had a pretty sick scheme, a Halloween themed scheme this race, and I hope it looked good out on track, and look forward to hopefully capping it off next race at Homestead.
Well, looks good it did, and I'm sure it's going to look good in victory lane. So, Jared Kaler, go enjoy that, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Jared Kaler, always fun to talk to at the end of the race, and you heard it right there. Hard to pass. You got to make the move now. And he just waited and took advantage. So joining us up in the booth, our third place finisher and crowd favorite, Henry Morrison. Henry, we saw you in the lead, and then we saw the wall reach out and grab you. Talk us through kind of leading those two cars, Kaler and Gomez, back behind, and just how much you have to push with those two guys back behind you.
It was really fun getting up there. I'm pretty happy to get a podium. Obviously, I think I could have won. But honestly, it was awesome racing up there with those guys. I definitely, yeah, it's quite a bit of pressure, when you're out front. And honestly, the fact that we were so clearly ahead of fourth on back made pressure a bigger thing, because then it's already a guaranteed that I'm going to finish really well. So it's less of like a chance thing, right? So, but it was a good race. There was some great moves out there and some questionable ones that luckily I wasn't involved in. So at this end of the field, it was all clean and it was all fun. And this track was surprisingly, I didn't have it until about 26 hours ago. So it was pretty fun to learn it, and I've always wanted an excuse to. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
Well, it seems like you're a really quick study on Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm sure we've all seen movies with Indianapolis in it, so we're not strangers to that. I got to ask, on the restart, you have 7 or 8 cars ahead of you that didn't take any tires, and you make your way through there, and you're going for the lead. I believe it was Logan Slavosky ahead of you. What's going through your mind in that moment on making a move on him?
A lap or two before I actually did it, I had a run coming off 2, and I could have pulled to the inside, but instead I wanted to stay behind him until the very last minute, and then suddenly I started pushing him forward without touching him, which was like crazy. So that was pretty annoying, because obviously the tire advantage is decreasing with every lap, and that was a huge opportunity that I messed up just due to my own ignorance and lack of experience. So I knew the move had to be pretty late on the straightaway, because it's so hard to follow, and then I can't exactly draft up to his rear bumper, because once you get close to someone's rear bumper, you start pushing them forward with that little pocket of air. So I knew it needed to be something a little bit unpredictable and a little bit out of the norm. So that was pretty sweet that move worked in 3 when it did.
It was a good one to watch up here in the booth, so I can only imagine in the driver's seat as well. So, but Henry Morse, a lot of fans for you in the chat. So tell them who you want to thank for this performance here tonight.
As always, I want to thank my family, my parents, my grandparents, my aunt maybe who's watching. I want to thank Riley for always fighting the good fight in the comments section. I want to thank my buddies in the Discord. Fuel calculation wasn't too big of a thing this event, so you don't earn your thanks this week. But we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks in Florida.
All right, can't wait for it. Henry Morse, another good finish. We'll look forward to seeing where you shake out in points too. Maybe challenge for a little championship there in Florida.
Maybe we'll see what happens. Thank you guys as always for doing what you can to make this run good.
All right, Henry Morse, great talking to you. We'll talk to you again soon. So Henry Morse coming away third here tonight, and let's run you through our final results from here in the CIL Cup Series at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jared Kaler comes away your winner. Christian Gomez back there in second for the Panther Esports team. Henry Morse, we just heard from him. He comes away third from UC Berkeley. Ryan Lusich from North Texas gets a good fourth place finish. Esteban Munoz from FIU finishing fifth, and Derek Jennings from Grand Canyon University. We saw him mix it up a couple of times. He comes away sixth. Good run for him. Logan Slavoski holds on, only dropping back to seventh on those old worn tires. Ryan Whitlock from Alabama at Huntsville. Good run for him. He finishes in eighth. And Carl Lemkool, our leading alumni, back there in ninth. And Austin DeLong in 10th for the Penn College of Technology.
Yeah, it looks like might have been a little bit of a post-race penalty going on there, but these things happen, as I've said before. 11th place, Nicholas Stockner from Clemson University. 12th, Andrew McCall, Purdue. Bradley E. Daniels, or is that an F? No, that's an E, from Robert Morris University. 14th, Thomas Toomey from Virginia. He took that early penalty, so good to see him fight back. Tristan Yoder from Robert Morris University in 15th. 16th, Jared Grodzicki.
There we go.
There we go. I think I added a few syllables at the earlier in the race. From Kansas State University, Joshua Tigges, right?
Yep.
Tigges from Buena Vista University, and 18th, Jeffrey Ford from Mizzou. 19th, Alexander Gagnon from Robert Morris University, and 20th, Colin Culpa from Indiana.
So Matthew Tucker from Jacksonville State finishing in 21st. Samuel Schurer from Clemson in 22nd. Another Clemson driver, Hagen Johnson, had a good run, but he finishes all the way back in 23rd. Ethan Head from Tennessee in 24th. Grant Lemkool made it through the LCQ, and he finishes 25th in the feature race. Cody Fadenhauer from VCU in 26th. Ricky Paz from Valparaiso University in 27th. And Jake Drew back there in 28th. Sean Campbell from Randolph Community College was involved in that track blocking incident, falls all the way back to 29th. Edwin Onefre from North Texas in 30th. Zach Lindler from Clemson University in 31st. Matthew Nordberg from NC State in 32nd. Jeremy Rogers from Texas A&M. Saw him involved in a couple of accidents over the course of the night. He finishes 33rd. Austin Trainer from Robert Morris University in 34th. Tough night for Scott Ratliff. He comes away 35th. Dan Banner from St. Clair College in 36th. Andrew Williams from Clemson in 37th. And Jeremy Milnerin from Purdue in 38th. Nick Maloche from St. Clair College in 39th. Ryan Fenty, my pick to win, finishing in 40th. 41st is Austin Farr. Tough night for the Tennessee team, who finishes 41st and 42nd with Ethan Morris, and that will do it for your field here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, Michael, as we wrap this one on up here, a tough night for a lot of guys who I think we didn't really expect to have a tough night.
Yeah, that's pretty disappointing. I don't know. I think maybe you should take some advice from me whenever you're picking your winners, because I think I did pretty well tonight. But yeah, this was an absolute blast. So I'd like to thank you for having me on. This was great, especially maybe for the viewers to get a little bit of insight on what's going through my mind for penalties. I was kind of quiet during those periods because I was working on it, but we got the job done, and yeah, this was really fun.
Yeah, always great to have you up in the booth with us. And like we mentioned a couple times throughout the broadcast, Michael normally doing our race stewarding, so distributing those penalties. And a couple of them here tonight were a little tough ones for you, so always like to keep you on your toes. So if you enjoyed all the racing action you saw here tonight, you want to see more, come back in 2 weeks' time as we head to Homestead Miami Speedway for the championship bout. And it should be a good one between Jared Kaler, Henry Morris, and Austin Farr. Keep in mind the drop week is going to keep Austin Farr kind of in it, but it's going to be tough to come back from with Jared Kaler, another win. That UNC Charlotte team looking very, very strong, very hard to beat. But next week, Michael, we go to Spa, and that should be a good one for the championship on the road side. You mentioned Sean Campbell a bunch. I think we'll see Sean Campbell's name up there on the top spot again.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a safer bet next week. He's won all 5 races, right? And so going into this last race, he's already crowned champion. He's probably just gonna do his victory lap. I've already got him as a pick for next week.
Definitely. So again, that will be 1 week's time, 7 days, same time, same place here on the CIL channels. And if you want that oval action, that'll be 2 weeks' time, 14 days from now. We head to Homestead, Miami for the championship of season 3. So for everyone putting it on here tonight, thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon. Good night, everybody.